Herb, Betty, we have some questions from the audience, and one area particularly wanted to start out talking about is the area of stress, and had a question here.
Betty, you seem to have worked through a lot of the anger from breaking out of a traditional role model. I think you've mellowed considerably over the past few years. I get the feeling Herb is kind of going through the adjustment. Can you hear me?
No.
You look puzzled.
Can't. Somebody must.
What? Can't turn it up, Betty.
No, I mean, it's loud enough, but I can't. I don't know. What did she say?
She says,
All right, Betty?
You seem to have mellowed from your anger. I
Maybe she
seem to
just
be just
can't hear
going through it. What are the changes that have allowed you to let go of some of that?
Well, I haven't quite finished it. I get the feeling that Herb is going through a later kind of anger, which is kind of following all of our changes, male and female. And I'm just wondering, from your own personal experience, what you think can be most helpful for the people, the younger women that are going through this now, and also for the men who are finally beginning to break out of their role models and are going through a lot of the anger.
Well,
what can help to reduce the stress in your personal experience?
Tell you, the funny thing, anger is easier in some ways. You can move, you can get yourself angry. First of all, also, there's a lot of ways you can look at it. First of all, if there are reasons to be angry, then be angry. Much better to take the anger, instead of directing the anger against yourself, which women always did before, is to move it out and do something about the condition. And even the excesses are better than what women used to do, is take it out on themselves. Also, the more women moved and the more confidence that they got in themselves, the less reason they had to be angry. Just they could relax. Part of the anger comes from a real defensiveness, a real uptightness, it comes from insecurity. They're defensive. You can mask your vulnerabilities. You can mask your vulnerabilities by just being angry, you see, if they're very sensitive areas. And you can, also it's easier to be angry against someone on the outside and project it than to risk moving yourself and changing and risk the complexities of what you really feel. And it's hard. I mean, I see both the psychological thing and the real world economic thing, and I don't want to deny either. In other words, I don't want to blame the victim. I mean, there were real reasons that women had to move, and there are real injustices that they moved against, and they really did need to get their energy out and so on. On the other hand, there was a lot of ways that you could act out here, and you could stay locked in the rage and use the anger to avoid moving, avoid changing, avoid facing your real feelings. When you get strong enough, then you can move, change. You can be angry when you need to be, but you can also be passive as well as active. You can be dependent as well as independent. You can be soft as well as hard. You can accept gray as well as black. Well, you don't have to always be right, you see. And I mean, you can admit your vulnerability more, and you can let the other person be, not, but that all comes finally then from some new inner authority and the new inner strength. Now, where did that come from? Well, it comes from the more you are yourself, you see. And for a woman, being herself means being as aggressive as she really is, or as assertive as she really is, but also it comes from admitting her own vulnerabilities and needs. And so for my friend here, I think that there is also this need to be as aggressive as you are, but not more aggressive than you are, and also to admit your needs, you see, to admit your needs. See, I think that men as well as women have needs, and that they do need chicken soup. But I think that when you have had a mother, for instance, that had you, you know, because she was putting all that energy into this little, and she said, eat, 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 you know, and all that. And what you really are saying, I'll never touch another drop of chicken soup again, is that you're so afraid of the needs that you still have for that mother. You think she made you too needy. But
Well,
anyway.
if you really believe in chicken soup, cook it yourself.
Herb, I think another part of her question, too, that was really directed toward you, do you think Betty has worked through a lot of the stress of this transition that you were feeling more of now, that Betty's already gone through it?
Well, I don't know. Of almost all the feminists, I've always admired Betty the most, which is why I'm here today, because I think her book, The Feminine Mystique, was probably the most solid and authentic, balanced work of all. But on the other hand, she is Jewish. But she'll always be an Earth Mother.
Well, I tell you, about the Jewish mother is something that makes the Portnoy mother and all that, makes all of us uncomfortable because there was so much reality in it, and because we had those mothers, and we still have needs for those mothers that we don't want to admit, and this and that and the other. And it was true. I mean, there was all this energy. It was, no, but when push comes to shove, that Jewish mother wasn't all bad. Earth Mother wasn't all bad. I mean, there is a phrase that I think it comes from Joan of Arc. I think it comes from the play The Lark, and it says, "All that I am, I will not deny. All that I am."